What up, what up, what up? Thanks as always for tuning in to P-Dub's Arcade Loft, where we always appreciate it when you come and hang out upstairs with us. Just wanted to go live real quick here to talk about Wonderland Amusements Pinball. We actually got a little bit of a video update earlier today. They actually sent the information out to YouTubers yesterday, as well as some information. And of course, I had yesterday off work, and it was my son's birthday, so I really didn't get a chance to dive into it. And then today, you know what it's like, guys, when you take a day off work and you turn around and you go back to work. It's like you punished yourself, right? Like my job was so unbelievably busy today. Unbelievably busy today. Let's see who's joining us. It's kind of an impromptu live. I don't know how well YouTube push notifications are going to go out, but you could help me out by spreading the word and letting people know that P-Dubs is live talking about pinball. I see Michael Robinson's here, Scott Parisi, King Ed V, J Rod, Galga Guy's here. Galga Guy, I'm sorry to hear you're taking a break, but you and your family got my love and support, brother. Hope you come back soon. Definitely don't want you to leave for a while. Ando Gamer JR is here. What's up, guys? How many of you in the live chat caught some of this information that came out earlier today? Let me know. And let me know your initial thoughts. We're going to watch this video kind of live together, and we're going to react to it, and we're going to tell you about our thoughts. Keep in mind, this is a Kickstarter for a $1,000 3/4 scale real mechanical pinball machine, and the question is going to be, is it worth it? Is it coming along the way we hope it would? Or is this going to fizzle like the Zizzle, right? Will it fizzle like the Zizzle? They really have only one thing to do, right? Obviously, make it cool, make it fun, but make it better than the Zizzle, right? If they make it better than the Zizzle for a home pinball machine, they could possibly have success, right? What's up, Nerd Jock? What's up, Scott? Yeah, we're talking pinball tonight, baby. So, guys, get ready, get hyped. We're going to be talking about pinball right after this. All right, guys, real quick, I got this pinned to the top of the chat in case if you do want to follow this Kickstarter. It is the Wonderland Pinball Alice Goes to Wonderland Kickstarter. Kickstarter is scheduled to launch in March, so if this is a product you're interested in, you want to log into your Kickstarter account and click on Notify Me on Launch. That way you're notified instantly via notification once the project actually goes live. Interesting to note that, guys, they have hit 1,000 followers. Can you believe that, dudes? 1,000 people are interested in this thing. You know, when I did a video last week about this product and the updates, they only had like 200 followers, right? And over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, they've added over 800 people between their own marketing as well as several content creators out there covering this. Like, really, the only people covering this product so far, if you think about it, guys, has been YouTubers. Like, have you seen any articles on Forbes, CNN, IGN, anything like that? You really haven't seen that. I think to help with this Kickstarter, I really think that these guys, Jerry and Peter and the team over there, definitely want to get the big name press, because there's only so far the YouTube gaming community can take you, right? There's only so far that wave can take you. You'll get the diehards in our little 3/4 scale space, but, you know, to get people who might be out there who've never heard of products of this size and cost, you definitely want to get more eyes on it. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Definitely want to get more eyes on it. I do want to share one little thing here. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. When they sent me the information, and this is actually a pretty important update, because this is something that we were worried about when it comes to information. Let me grab it here. Sorry, guys. I got to move it to this window so you guys can see it. Otherwise, you guys won't be able to see it. All right, so this is important to see right here. Let's go ahead and go. Let's go ahead and go like here. So main updates you will see. It's got the new playfield adjusted based upon the version 1.0 feedback. The Carlos Mendoza art's been applied to the machine, but there's going to be some changes. Obviously, again, this is prototype 2, so they're going to keep making changes. They also made a funny comment if you read number 2 where they talk about boobies on the back glass. Who is all for boobies on the back glass? You know P-Dubs is. God damn, I love boobies on the back glass when I play pinball, right? So no boobies on the back glass in the video, but this is interesting, right? Let's take a look at number 3. This is probably the one thing that I find the biggest piece of news, and I don't know if this got covered. First pass on the game code. We don't show a lot, but the game code has been implemented. You will see scoring, but none of the animations have gone in yet, such as the animations that would pop up on the LCD screen, like you hit a certain shot and maybe it does something fun. Now, here's the most important part. You won't see any of the quests activating. This is work in progress. Work in progress, guys. Now, why is that important about the quests activating? One thing about the Zizzle pinball machines that made them fail is the fact that they were little mini home pinball machines, and all they were was just shoot high scores. That was it. There was no true game code, right? It was mostly just shoot, get high points however you see fit. And also the game only had the ability with the cheap hardware built in to save one high score, like what was the highest score. And of course it erased when the machine was powered off, right? The fact that they are actually implementing quests, or what we like to call video modes or game modes, depending on the pinball game, shows you that this is actually going to have a pretty decent game code built in. The fact that you're going to see your scoring, it has an LCD screen. So the LCD screen is your DMD. So it'll have the scoring and animated LCD when you hit special shots and things like that. But most importantly, it will actually have game modes or quests, as we like to call them. So in my opinion, that automatically is huge news and something to be positive when thinking about the potential of this machine, because one thing we don't want is it to be like, what's that Pac-Man? You know that cheap Pac-Man tabletop pinball machine that just came out that everyone's making videos on? And they're like, oh, this is amazing, this $150 Arcade Pro Pac-Man. Well, what do you do with that? All you do is shoot and you try and get a high score by banging into things. That's it. But no true immersion. No true immersion. So this actually is going to be more like a real mini pinball machine with a fully fledged game. Like I said earlier, it needs code with quests to achieve, and I agree with you, King and Ed, and it sounds like that they whatchamacallit, that they're on the right track when it comes to that. Let's kind of dive in here so I can kind of give you guys my thoughts and stuff. Now, let's go ahead and let's see if we can do this. We're going to stop sharing. It looks like it plays like the atomic pinball he had as a kid. Way too fast. Wish they would have scaled it up so it used a standard size pinball. Yeah, but if it was a bigger pinball, it probably would have been more like my Super Mario Brothers Mushroom World, right? Which I think is super fun and awesome. But most pinball players hate it because it's a mini playfield. It's a mini pinball game, right? And it's half the size of a real pinball playfield, right? Like, I love it because it was the first pinball game I ever played growing up, and that's why I own it. And that's why it's here downstairs, my real Super Mario Brothers Mushroom World pinball. But I don't know how well the pinball community would react. I think with it be more of a toy size, using smaller size pinball, it might be better suited for our community. Does that make sense? Like to see what the story mode will be and sounds and lights. Yeah, we didn't get a lot of that yet, but it's all going to be coming. It's all going to be coming, right? So let's go ahead and share this. We also want to share our audio. let's do this. Share. Let's go ahead and add this, and let's kind of take a look at this, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear it. All right, let me know if you guys can hear it.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Peter with Wonderland Amusements, and we are just back from Hong Kong, where we got a chance to check out the latest prototype 2.0.
So they're all like, hey, we just went to Hong Kong, blah, 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 right? Now, they did mention that they improved this backglass artwork a bit. I can't tell what improvements they made versus the other one. I guess I would have to put them side by side and try and really dive in. I mean, in my opinion, it still looks very, very similar to the last backglass image. Alice, she's more, she's less gray looking, right? Like less gray in the face. So she looks less like a zombie, but she looks more scared. But I guess they did some fine tuning. They did some fine tuning on the backglass. So, so yeah, there you go.
From what we
All right,
had,
so
the little
no big deal
that
there,
we
but let's get to the
earlier.
important stuff,
And
right? So here it is.
And
all right, so this is them walking into their Hong Kong office, right? This is them walking into their Hong Kong office. Ready?
yeah.
By the way, did you notice they have like an ice check? What is that called? The Chex hockey
When we
machine.
came in the door, and
Let's take a look. Look at that right there.
yeah. Oh,
So very
hello,
small
pretty.
office. Here's your prototype,
this
right?
isn't
Now, what
our-
do you notice right here, guys? So a couple things, right? Now, I know they're loving saying that this is 80% to scale of a real pinball machine. I don't know what they're using to say 80%, guys. I don't know if they're just going off of the height of the machine, if they're going off of the length of the machine. But in all reality, this is just a bit larger than an arcade one-up virtual pinball machine. How many of you guys have owned an arcade one-up virtual pinball machine? Let me know in the chat. Or if you've seen one in person, one of your friends has one, whatever, you've seen one in a store set up. It's just a bit larger than that. And if you put one of those pinball machines next to my full-size pinball machines downstairs, and I have several, it definitely is not 80% to scale, right? 80% to scale. Now, this does look to be larger than an arcade one-up pinball machine, but just slightly. So if you're looking for something in that size range, there you go. Now, what's the first thing you notice? Now, keep in mind, this is prototype 2. What's the first thing that you notice when you stare at this thing? Imagine you walked into somebody's house and you looked at their pinball machine. What is this pinball machine missing? This pinball machine, obviously, it's missing the side artwork, right? Like, we got to get something on the side. I know on that Kickstarter image that I did a video on a week or so ago, they had like a metallic, it looked like Adventures in Wonderland logo right here, kind of like a like maybe a die-cast metal or a plastic logo of the game logo right here. But in my opinion, it needs an artwork wrap all up and down the sides, front, everything, right? Like, you want your pinball machines to be pretty, right? So, I mean, obviously it's a prototype. We're missing the artwork there, but they did put the artwork on the Playfield.
In Central District of Hong Kong.
As we come in, again, the back box now hangs over the side of the pinball body by about an inch and a half. So much better than what it used to be, guys, because when it was lined up directly here with the pinball machine, it made the back box look too small. It made it look too small, right? Now that it's actually hanging over a little bit, it looks a little bit better. Yeah, we're talking about that, Biggie D. We've been talking about that. We need boobies on the side art. No, you don't. Their version of Alice is a teenager. We don't need 13-year-old boobies, James. We don't need 13-year-old boobies. They're not doing what Dutch Pinball's doing, buddy. They're doing the more traditional child Alice. So it's okay that they don't have boobies on the back glass, right? You'll notice we got the artwork on the playfield. It looks pretty dark. They did mention that they're going to brighten that up and make it pop. And let's kind of here. I'm going to mute him for a second because I think I can kind of do the commentary. So he's talking about the size of it. All right, let's take a look here. So yeah, one thing you'll notice too is with the playfield art, It's very dark, right? It's very dark, and I know they got a lot of bright ceiling lights shining on this thing, but yeah, it's kind of dark. You can't really see what's going on here. So yeah, hopefully they're going to brighten this up a few levels. Looks like Alice. I can't tell what's right here. Looks like a tree right here. The tree with the mushrooms, maybe the hole to get to Wonderland, stuff like that. You got the white rabbit over here. Like again, it's kind of hard to see, right? There you go. All right. So let's keep going here.
Inside the box.
Oh, let's go back. Now you'll notice when you actually look at this thing, they've added a new sculpture. They've added this worm sculpt. And keep in mind too that the sculptures and everything you see on the table right now is still 3D printed plastic. So the quality there isn't super, super great, right? Like if it's going to be like a full-on injected plastic mold, it'll look a lot better. Now, I don't know if they're sticking with 3D printing when they make these. I hope that they're not going to stick with 3D printing and that these things will actually have some good quality plastic for the sculptures, right? Understanding too that they're trying to keep the price down. They're trying to keep the price down, right? Now keep in mind the smoking caterpillar guy here. Obviously, he'll be colored and all that stuff. He'll be colored and all that stuff. But like you can kind of see here when you look at these covers, you can kind of see how kind of like cheap and flimsy they look because it's 3D printed. Hopefully, it's much better much better plastic when it actually launches. Darren says he thinks the cards on the ramp are very clever. He's not a fan of the art on the back glass, not just the Alice face, most of all of it. Hey, man, it's okay to have that opinion. I'm sure they want to hear that feedback. So taking a peek here, them putting cards on the ramp leading up to the Queen of Hearts castle is pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. All right, let's keep going. And of course, just like we long assumed when the first Playfield render got released and we had a little rectangle here, we all assumed that this rectangle was going to be our tea party table, and he did confirm that in this video. It's definitely a tea party table, and in fact, if you play the video without pausing it, you'll actually see there's some cups and teapots and stuff on the table with this Mad Hatter thing right here, which is just like the Mad Hatter on a piece of plastic, right? And then right up here, you can see the castle. You'll notice that the castle's not done yet. Obviously, this is all going to be colorized and everything, but it kind of gives you an idea as to what it's going to look like when it's done. Obviously, they'll add the gray and the shading for a castle. Fill it probably the heart here. That's a heart. That'll probably end up being filled in with red. You know what I mean? So they're going to fine tune this and stuff, but it gives us an idea, right? So, and then there's your back glass right here. All right. So here's what the back glass looks like on the actual machine. Darren says he doesn't like it. Guys, let me know in the chat. Are you a fan of this back glass and the artwork style? At least from what we've seen on the table. Do me a favor, let me know. Guys, this is your stream. Definitely want to make sure your voices are heard. We don't make it. I'm not. No, James. I'm teasing you, James. But yeah, I do. I do like the Dutch pinball Alice. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't like sexy girls on their pinball machine, right? But this one they're going more traditional. I don't think it looks that bad. I can understand some people might still have issues with Alice's face here because her eyes just look so big. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Or like her eyes are really bugging out right here. Does she still looks like a corpse? Let me know. It needs to be lit. Neeks Prime says he's all in. He loves the art and the price. Alice is scary ugly. Too many sexy girls on pinball will break the glass. There you guys go, right? I love what he did here with the caterpillar, with the white rabbit, and with the Mad Hatter. I just love the style of this Carlos guy's artwork. You know what I mean? And I love the Queen of Hearts and all these characters, right? So I think they all look cool. She's hideous. She looks like she's on crack. Well, I mean, it is technically a movie about or a story where, she's on some kind of acid trip, right? But the most important thing about this video is we actually got to see some prototype gameplay. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of stuff we haven't seen yet. Let's get to some of the fun stuff. So he talked about right here. So you notice right here, you just have some spot targets right here. And then here is that caterpillar. I love the fact that he's sitting on a mushroom with his hookah. Look at that. He's got his hookah right here. And there he is. He just needs colored. You know what I mean? He just needs colored. Obviously, that right there is a 3D printed caterpillar, but it gives you an idea as to how that's going to look. I think that was a nice touch because that was a new sculpture thing that they just revealed for everybody. And now we're going to get a nice close look at the playfield, the bumpers. I love the kind of like the checkerboard flooring where the bumpers are. You get a nice shot right here, unlike the last shot, of, again, the detail that's going to be in the castle, where you're actually going to have the bricks and the heart and what is these called? The what's the name of that, guys, on top of a castle? The parapets. What is that? I'm saying that word wrong. It starts with a P. Castle fans, you know what I'm talking about. There's you'll actually see the ridges and all that stuff. And then I guess this lights up real bright. Ball goes through here, comes out here. So, I mean, imagine this being colored. I think it could look pretty cool, you know, throw some color on there and all that stuff. Cards look great. I love the caterpillar. He looks like Jabba. What? Nothing wrong with Jabba. I had Marvel of Zizzle. I still have Marvel of Zizzle in my pinball machine downstairs, or in my garage downstairs, and I agree, it's not nice. Not as nice as this. When we go back and we look over here towards the back, again, what's really cool is they're putting artwork on the back as well as on the sides, on the interior of the pinball machine. Typically, companies don't do that. They just go with plain black, and then you got to go buy side art blades. So the fact that they're doing that to put the artwork there to give it more of that World Under Glass feel is great. Love the fact that on the ramps here, you have like the cobblestone road right here going this way. And right here, you can see all the, the teapots and the kettles and all that. And again, this all just needs to be colored and filled in and stuff. And back down here, it looks like you have to light up letters. And there's a captive ball right here that this could potentially unlock multi-ball mode, because this is supposed to, I guess, be kind of like a bash toy where you got to keep hitting this, hitting the table where the tea party is. Let's go here. And then also they put a spinner on the ramp. So obviously you'll have spinner goals in the game as well. You know, spin X amount of times and do this. You get the wire ramp. Again, the artwork looks good. It's just, it's so dark you really can't see it, right? Like, it's so dark. Oh, that's a great shot. Let's go back right here. Like, it's so dark. Like, you really can't see it, right? And they're in a brightly lit room as well. They got ceiling lights shining on this thing, just burning a hole in this thing. And you still really can't see what's happening here with this artwork. So I do agree. And when they sent out the footage, they said, yeah, we want to brighten up the artwork on the actual playfield. But again, as you can see, you actually have artwork on the sides, so side blades included. And then down here, that looks like what? Tweedledee, Tweedledum? Is that their names? Tweedledee, Tweedledum? And then the various game or video modes or quest modes will light up right here, which is what these are right here. So again, they're actually going to have a full-fledged code in here. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool in my opinion. And this is the best part, right? So as you can see here, it actually, with your LCD, it has full on the DMD. It says player 1 right here. And obviously the animations for the score. I can't really read what these say. Does he zoom in on it? Oh, he kind of did. Let's see what those were. Let's see if I can pause it, if we can see what that says. Nope, I think it moves too quick. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Come here, you jerk. All right. Yeah, I can't tell what these say right here, guys. I can't see what this is. But this is supposed to be animated, and it's going to have the video modes and all that. So that's pretty cool in my opinion, right? Like, that's pretty cool. I remember someone on their Facebook page, like their corporate Facebook, they put this video out and someone left them a comment saying, "Hey, does your machine have a DMD?" And the guy said, "No, we don't have a DMD." Yeah, you do. You do have your DMD. It's right here. I think he was thinking that they meant like an actual like dot matrix DMD, right? Like, no, this is your DMD. It's keeping your score right here. It was kind of funny because, what's interesting is these guys have been transparent, Peter and Jerry and all them. They're like, hey, we're not major pinball guys, but we want to try and create a pinball thing for people out there. But that's why they hired guys like the guy who did that one of the best DIY pinball makers in the pinball community to be one of their consultants to help them design this pinball machine to get the pinball expertise on the team. Does that make sense, right? But it was kind of funny that he didn't really know the different what the guy was talking about. Like, yeah, you do have a DMD. It's right here. It's part of it's on your screen. All right, let's get to the gameplay and let's check this out. And I'm going to play this just at full speed for you guys. And I'll take myself off the screen here. Now, give me your honest opinion in the live chats of what you're thinking. And I'm going to tell you how this compares to the Zizzle pinball machine that I have downstairs. Brooklyn Menace says it's looking good. Ritual Dello says he likes what he sees. Wait till the tariffs hit. The green displays could be players 2 through 4. Yeah, that could be Steve. It's so hard to see. It's so small compared to his hands. But as you can see, doesn't this definitely look like the size of an arcade 1-up pinball when you see his actual hands on the size of the pinball machine? Scott Parisi with a $5 super chat, interrupting his stream, his distro call to report after 22 months, his Pulp Fiction machine is arriving next week. Good for you, Scott. Man, that's a long time to wait. Almost 2 years to get your pinball. That is correct, Thor. The Zizzle pinball machine does not use a full-size pinball. It also uses a smaller pinball just like this one. Very good question. End of line says, play looks promising. If you're building a smaller machine and everything else is smaller, your ramps, your wire ramps, your slingshots, your flippers, you can't use a full-size pinball. You have to shrink the pinball down. It's all about physics. So they have to use a smaller size pinball. However, like the Zizzle, it could play very, very fast. It almost seems like it's too fast. Does that make sense? So, but if you and the kids are looking for a very fast, quick scoring pinball experience, this could actually be fun. Now, I got to tell you something. Versus the Zizzle, this is much better. I can tell you that right off the bat. I could tell just by watching this footage how much more exciting this is. And let's go ahead and prove it to you guys. Let's go ahead and show you. The main goal was, can they make an at-home pinball experience and make it better than the Zizzle and worth $1,000, right? So let's go ahead and show this because we're going to jump back and forth here. All right, so here we go. Now here's the Zizzle. Okay. They also used a smaller size pinball versus the other one. You'll notice this too is, this is smaller. The Zizzle here is smaller than the machine that we were just looking at from Wonderland Pinball, right? And as you can see, it's one thing that was wrong with the Zizzles is the weight of the machines. They're very small, very light. Like, dude, the whole thing together probably weighed 30 pounds. You know what I mean? That's another thing I'm wondering. When I saw him playing, I didn't see, did you guys see like the pinball table shaking like that when he was playing? Like what, even if he was nudging or not, like there was, I didn't see any of that. You know, it looked like it was decent, had a decent weight to it and stuff like that. So there you go. Did the Zizzle have solenoids? No, it just had some tension boards. I don't think it actually had solenoids inside of there. So yeah, so now when we take this and then we flip to this, let's go here. All right, you guys just saw the Zizzle. All right, now here is this. Now the Zizzle retailed for about $300, I think, when it came out. So the question is are you getting $300 with inflation? Probably about $500-600 today, because that thing came out like 20 years ago. So the question is this a $1,000 pinball experience compared to the Zizzle? The Zizzle only had a single DMD that only kept high score. This is going to actually have a full-on pinball game code, different quest modes, multiplayers, up to 4 players, and also sculptures and everything, versus, you know, the cheap plastic that was in, I'm sorry, not the cheap plastic, the minimalist stuff that was in the Zizzle. So like when we go back and look at a Zizzle right here, you got the bumpers back here and you had a treasure chest, but what else is on the table, guys? Do you see anything else? Like there's nothing else here. Literally nothing else here on the table. No sculptures, no pirate ship, no characters. The artwork was nice. I will admit that. The artwork on the Zizzle was pretty nice. And was it horrible to play? I really, really didn't like it. Like, I really, really didn't like it. Like, I think it's because the whole thing just felt super, super cheap. Super, super cheap. And then when I compare it to this one looks, in my opinion, it looks less cheap. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, obviously we have 3D printed sculpts on here and stuff that needs to be finalized. But again, they've made no bones about it that this is a prototype. But I do think they need to brighten all this up because you can't really see the table, right? You can't really see what's going on here. Jim Harper says he's ready to have the Zizzle because he likes the theme better. Oh, that's because you like the, what do you call it? You like the Pirates of the Caribbean theme. Zizzle seems like the name for a high school science project. There you go. Now, is this a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 pinball experience? No. Is it possible these guys could have done something a little bit bigger and a little bit better for like $2,000? I think so. I mean, think about it. I mean, if they get this thing in at 1,000 or less, if they had made the machine just a little bit bigger, and that way they could add even more to it, like this could have been a $2,000 machine that maybe would have truly been 80% to scale. And maybe the real pinball community would have like been more excited about it because they've been running away from this thing. They've been making fun of this thing, minus those of us like me who own real pinball plus virtual pinball. And what I tell you guys on the last stream, we're flexible, right? Like as long as it's fun and it's worth the money, we'll buy it and play it, right? Yeah, we're not like what's that word where you only pick one thing and you stick with it? That kind of stuff. If they make it $7.99, yeah, they said it's going to be less than 1,000. Now, does that mean it'll be $9.99? No, hell, it could be $7.99 when it comes out. We'll find out. Keep in mind that the Zizzle was like $350, something like that when it came out. And with inflation, that would have been around $600 maybe today, 500, maybe $600. And you're getting a lot more with this thing and what appears to be a better build quality. Yeah, Purist, that's it, Purist. So yeah, this, in my opinion, as of right now, in my opinion, this is actually looking pretty decent for the price that they're trying to hit. They still have a road to travel, right? So for instance, when you watch their video on their channel, you'll notice that none of the call outs or game music was included. So stuff like that all needs to get implemented into the code. The animations and things weren't there for when you're like keeping scores and stuff. Now you will see that on their video on the top down shots, like when they hit shots, you saw the score changing. So like the code is in there, but not the animations and stuff like that, and the quests and things that they want to add. This is true. I'm glad you mentioned this, Cammy. So for instance, on the Zizzle, when you hit like one of the slingshots or whatever, like on the Zizzle, like it would be everything would fire at once, right? Versus these have individual solenoids for each, right? So yeah, so that's cool. So, it's not like the whole machine is just clicking and clacking. It's basically it's doing what it's supposed to, clicking and clacking and banging and clanging here where the ball is versus just the whole machine ringing for no reason. In my opinion, I think this is coming along nicely compared to the Zizzle. Now compared to a real pinball machine, the fact that they're putting in quest modes, full-on game mode code, nice LCD screen, nice animations are going to be put in supposedly. Already the font and stuff, like when you guys got the shot of the LCD screen, where is it? Right here. Like, in my opinion, this looks pretty cool. So yeah, maybe that's player 1, player 2, I can't really see it, guys. They didn't like pause it where the camera shot is clear. But I think that looks pretty cool. Nice little font and the background image and stuff. Like, I think that'll be cool to look up at and play. And hopefully it'll play like animations based upon Carlos's artwork whenever like you do something, like you unlock multi-ball, maybe the Mad Hatter will pop on screen and be like, you unlock multi-ball, right? That kind of stuff. So is the playfield with Wise smaller than the Zizzle? I feel like it's cramped. No, the Zizzle was smaller. The Zizzle was even smaller than this. So yeah, I mean, I don't have the exact measurements, but if I had to guess, the Zizzle, if you guys can see my mouse going up and down, the Zizzle was like this. You know what I mean? Like, you got to cut off everything. Like, the Zizzle was a very small machine, guys. Very small. You'd like them to make it even bigger and charge $1,500 to $2K. Would you guys pay for more quality? Would you guys pay more money for bigger and better quality? Let me know in the chat. I don't know. I think when it comes to our community is kind of like, we really want stuff to be less than $1,000 when it comes to our, what we like to call the 3/4 scale home arcade community. We really don't like spending over $1,000 on things. Hell, we don't like spending over $700 on things in this community. Whereas, let's just say the real pinball community, which is a community made for people who more or less, like for home buyers, have a much higher disposable income, like they don't mind dropping 10 grand every few months and buying a pinball machine. You know what I'm saying, guys? So I honestly, I think I'm okay with what they're doing, because what they're doing is they're trying to target a market segment for pinball for everyone was their phrase, right? And I know like Console Kits and Kong are using that for the title of their pinball show, which is great. But I mean, originally when they started announcing this, like they're like, hey, we're making a pinball machine for everyone. And how do you make a machine for everyone? You make it at an affordable price, right? A much better price. So yeah. We are frugal. Jim, he doesn't want to pay more than $1,000. There you go. I'm not in that tax bracket. Yeah, I mean, think about it, guys. Some of these guys that have 6 or 7 pinball machines behind them in their live streams, those pinball machines are around 10 grand a piece. So do the math, add it up. It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for pinball. There you go. I'm cheap too. So I think it's okay. I honestly think it's okay that there's a company out there that's trying to fulfill a need for some people who want to have like a cheap, affordable way to hopefully play some fun pinball, right? Now, I think I've seen enough to say that this definitely, they are on the path of making a product that's way better than the Zizzle and comparable to a, you know, a decent experience. But again, we have to see, once again, the final thing, right? The final thing. What are the Kickstarter pricing tiers, the code, the game modes? I'm sure they're going to record all that. They have about 6 weeks or so before this Kickstarter is supposed to go live. So I'm assuming we'll get a lot of updates as time goes on, as we get near launch time, right? Sinister says he's only owned one. Yeah, dude, I got 6 pinball machines downstairs, real pinball machines. So yeah, and I feel like I have too many. Hey, Cammy, I own a Labyrinth pinball machine as well. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool too if they come out with like a topper or stuff. Like maybe it'll be like a Kickstarter bonus. Like maybe the machine is, let's just say $800 for the machine, and maybe it's $50 for the topper, right? Like that'd be kind of cool if they did like Kickstarter bundles like that, stuff like that. Someone asked earlier about the Jurassic Park pinball. Here we go. Oh yeah, without a doubt. That Jurassic Park pinball machine, that's $4,000. Guys, you're getting a $4,000 pinball experience. You're getting your money's worth. You know, the Stern Jurassic Park pinball. The question is will this thing end up being worth $1,000 or less? And I think they're on the right track. So, I mean, they're putting in stuff in here that the Zizzle couldn't do in today's price range of around $500, because with inflation, the Zizzle had barely anything in it, and with inflation today, it would have been around $500 for that piece of crap, right? So, and this has got way more going on for it than that. Does that make sense? So my live reaction is I am pleased with what I am seeing so far. I really am. And I'm looking forward to seeing this get all flushed out. Now, keep in mind when they do the Kickstarter launch, as well as the final reveals, if the call outs, if the music, if like the animations on the back glass, if the quest modes, like if all that stuff doesn't look awesome, I'll be the first one to tell you guys, you know, I won't sugarcoat it. I'll be like, yeah, it sounds like ass. You know what I mean? Or this looks dumb. But for a prototype, I think they're on the right track. I think it has promise. There you go, Ruben. That is a great way to say it. I think it's a great way to say it. So do me a favor, guys, if you're interested in following this project and possibly this Kickstarter launch, the link for that's in the video description below. It's also pinned to the top of this live chat right now. Make sure you log into your Kickstarter account and click notify me on launch. Dude, they're already at over 1,000 people. There's 1,000 people already who are interested in this thing. That's pretty cool in my opinion. You know, that's pretty cool. That shows you that there's a potential audience for this, right? A potential audience. I don't want to drag this on. Yep, we did get that super chat. I just want to do a reaction stream to this. I don't want to super game room dudes. We're going to have a lot of topics to cover for another exciting week in the world of gaming. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is I'd love to get these guys on, because you guys remember they tried to do a Kickstarter for that Shuffle Golf and the Kickstarter got canceled. Like, now keep in mind, everybody got refunded. Nobody lost any of their money. It was just unfortunate that they weren't able to get the product made for what they thought they could or something like that. So yeah, they all have that, what is that called? Negative mark on their track record. So I'd love to get like Jerry or Peter or somebody on. And guys, you know, P-Dubs, he'll ask the tough questions. I'll be like, how do we know for sure this will actually be released? And Kickstarter backers will be taken care of, right? Like, I have no problem asking the tough questions. Maybe I'll invite them to come on the channel, that kind of thing. I'm pleased. I'm pleased with what I'm seeing so far. Oh, look who just showed up. You showed up right at the end, Wonderland Amusements. Guys, if you want Wonderland Amusements to come on P-Dub's Arcade Loft to talk about this pinball machine, do me a favor, give me a 1 in the chat right now. If you'd rather they go somewhere else, give me a 0. Let me know where you guys want them to to pop on to answer some community questions. And, you know, I'm not going to throw the softball questions. You guys know me. Look at all the ones coming in. Jerry, Peter, you guys are more than welcome to come on the show and talk to us about this project. I think we might have some interested members of my audience here who are interested in hearing more about this from you guys. So the invitation is there. We can talk on email and all that. So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Way better than the Zizzle. If this looked exactly like the Zizzle when this gameplay footage came out, guys, I was ready to crap all over this thing. I was ready to shit all over it and tell everybody, don't bother. Don't bother. But, you know, with what they have, the sculpts, the design of the playfield, the animations that are coming soon, the music coming soon, voice callouts coming soon, up to 4 players, the fact that you have what else? Full-on quest modes, like an actual real full-on pinball game code going into this thing versus just shooting to hit a high score. That's exciting to me. That's exciting to me. You know what I mean? So it's definitely way better than what and I have firsthand experience with those. I've owned both the Zizzles, and I still have one of them in the garage downstairs collecting dust. Guys, do me a favor if you enjoyed. Oh yeah. Hey, get us a topper, Wonderland. People want a topper on this thing, or make the topper like a Kickstarter bonus, or like a separate option for the Kickstarter. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Do me a favor, guys. If you enjoyed tonight's live stream, give us a thumbs up. Leave your comments, feedback, reactions below. Make sure you follow the Kickstarter. And it sounds like we're going to get Wonderland Amusements on to answer your questions and my questions very, very soon. And make sure you guys, thanks for subscribing. I'm not as hyped as I usually am. I'm a little exhausted, but I will be more hyped tomorrow because it's Super Game Room Dudes. All right, guys, we will talk real soon. You guys have a good night, because at this point, I'm just dragging it out. Take it easy, guys.